ready and experienced.
Yeah, it's that next man up mentality. And also, too, that, okay, if you're not performing, your ass is going to be on the sideline. Like, no matter, like, I don't care who you are. You have to perform if you go play for the University of Alabama. Now tuned into the greatest.
Manny Wilson podcast. The Manny Wilson podcast. The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, the best sports podcast there is. All the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. And today, we going all the way down south to Alabama with our guy, Jake. We got a special guest in the building with us today. Jake from Jake's Small Market Sports Takes podcast is here with us today. What's going on, Jake?
Nothing too much. Thanks so much for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
No problem, man. I'm ready to kick off this great show. I got some great topics. You dropped a bomb on me that you went to Alabama, and we're gonna be talking about Alabama. But I gotta let you in on a secret. Before we even get to the Alabama segments, I gotta tell you, man. Did you know? I'm a writer. I'm a songwriter. Did you know that?
I did not know. What?
Okay. Well, let me share something with you real quick. And this is actually new to my audience as well. They don't know I'm a songwriter. So let me tell you. Okay, so this is the song I got here. All right, let me cut the music out. So it goes, you know the Michigan song. Hail to the victors. Yeah. Jim Harbaugh is overrated. Jim Harbaugh is overrated. Yes, he is. He's robbing them. So what do you think?
I think that's pretty good. I mean, I think it's spot on. You have to think about it. You know, he only has really one win over Ohio State in his tenure there.
I mean, damn.
He hasn't had the most exciting tenure. I mean, really the only reason he's there is since he went there.
Yeah. Jim Harbaugh is mad overrated, and you couldn't have made a better point. That the only thing the University of Michigan even cares about is beating Ohio State, and this man has done it once since he's been there. And I got even more.
Yeah, so I think I don't think he is as good a coach as everyone thinks, but I definitely think that, you know, maybe the tide could be turning, but that's play on words. But also, I mean, I think about their quarterback play. They haven't had a consistent quarterback really since Tom Brady.
Yeah, in years. It's been, you know, usually, I really think Tom Brady was just like the gem that people just happen to come alongside, because it's like I haven't seen another one of their quarterbacks where it's like, oh man, this guy's going top 10, or he's about to go like high in the draft. I haven't seen any guy like that from the University of Michigan.
Alabama played in Michigan, and everyone was so excited about Denard Robinson.
Oh no!
And now I grew up in the same city as AJ McCarron, so we all knew about AJ McCarron, and we knew he was a good quarterback, but we also knew that he wasn't
recording in progress
like Marcus Mariota. He wasn't anyone too exciting, but we knew what he could do. And then AJ McCarron outperforms Denard Robinson. Denard Robinson actually, I think, gets taken out of the game by CJ Mosley. And it's crazy because, like, you know, everyone knows CJ Mosley now too. And I just didn't see enough. And I tried to get on the Devin Gardner train. He was not a good quarterback. Jay Patterson was decent. Even Christian McCaffrey's brother, who went to Michigan, transferred out after 2 years.
Yep, I remember that. I do remember that. And what's also crazy too, just speaking of like University of Michigan, they still, like, I know when Harbaugh first got there, they were kind of ranked high in recruiting. Like their rankings went up even more in recruiting. And obviously because, like, you know, brother in NFL, you know, and then also too, it's the University of Michigan. It's going to sell itself just because it's such a prominent university, especially when you talk about football as well. So, but I just think because they have such a rich history and such a strong history, that sometimes overlooks what's really going on now. And it kind of makes fans crazy and just in a way, forget everything that's been going on the last few years rather than being open and seeing that, damn, we actually suck right now. Like, we've been terrible with this guy leading us right now. So I think that's something huge, man.
Well, that's kind of how I look at it with Georgia, because everyone looks at Georgia and they say, yeah, they're so good. But Kirby Smart drives out every good quarterback who ever comes to Georgia.
At Georgia.
Because he drove out Jacob Eason. He drove out Justin Fields.
Yep, that was who I was looking for, Justin Fields.
And he he got Jamie Newman, and Jamie Newman said, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not playing." He drove out I think it was Dwayne Mathis or
yeah, Dwayne Mathis. Yep. And he actually went to Go ahead.
Yeah, so he's driving out all these good quarterbacks, and I'm thinking, all right, yeah, Carson Beck's next.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You know, now that you bring the examples up, I definitely wouldn't put it past University of Georgia, considering they've lost so many different people. But I don't know, man. It's definitely going to be tough on the college football scene. But that kind of brings us to our next point of Alabama, man. You know, you dropped the bomb on me, told me you went to Alabama. So what is it, now that you have more insight than I do, but what do you think it really is that makes the University of Alabama such a dominant football team when you talk about college football?
I think it's because Nick Saban just does not have the patience for slackers. Yeah. He wants you to come in, work your butt off, and you know, he doesn't care how many stars you have. He doesn't care how successful you were in high school. He wants you to be as great as you can be in college. I mean, he will bring in people who you might have never heard of, and they come in. I mean, I think of one that was, I mean, like our current tight end, Cameron Watson, was not a tight end. He was a 5-star linebacker coming out of high school. And I think it was 1 year, Alabama was just decimated by injuries. So they moved Watu over to tight end. He ends up coming in his first year as a starter and breaking the school record for touchdown catches by a tight end. And I'm thinking, wow, this is, pretty crazy and what the heck. But I mean, it's crazy how many people are just going to, say, wow, Nick Saban is a big reason these players are developed. So, that's a big part of it for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And I think it really just starts with Saban. I think it starts obviously from the top. I think it starts with Saban because one, recruiting, and obviously, there's recruiters that, focus heavily on we got to get this guy and so on. But man, Alabama has been top 5 in recruiting for like the last 20 years. And it's absolutely insane just to think about that they've been top in recruiting for that long. And then they've also been top 3 in recruiting for like the last 10 years when you talk about getting these best guys. And like you mentioned earlier, man, I really think it just comes down to Saban having that zero tolerance for BS type of motto. And like, if you come in here, you're playing with the best there is. So like nobody has a certified, a locked in spot. You got to come here and earn your way on the field. If you're not performing, you're getting the hell out. Like, and I just think that you're not going to play. And I think that's just like that mentality that Nick Saban has. I think that's like a huge reason of why we see Alabama going to the championship year after year after year after year, because it's like if his top guys, you were a 5-star recruit, you had offers from this school, but okay, you're out here dropping balls, you're not running the routes hard, get your ass on the sideline. Bring the freshmen. Bring the freshmen. And I think I've seen them do it. I've seen them do it on multiple occasions. So, I think that's something that's huge. That's huge for Alabama. And I mean, not to say any other university isn't like that, but I witness it more with Alabama than anybody, if anything.
My senior year of college, Alabama had their 3 starting receivers were Calvin Ridley, Cam Sims, and Robert Foster.
Atlanta Falcons, Calvin Ridley.
Justice for Calvin Ridley. And then the 3 backups in there were Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, and Henry Ruggs.
Yep.
and they were all freshmen. And it was one of the first times where Nick Saban had played 3 freshman receivers.
Yep.
I think at the same time.
Man.
But, you're bringing in Jerry Jeudy to spell Calvin Ridley. I think there was one time where he just had 3 true freshman wide receivers and Irv Smith on the field at the same time. I said, whoa,
didn't he?
We're getting away with this?
And didn't he do that in the? I think it was a big game, wasn't it? Like a championship game where he did that same
championship game when he removed Jalen Hurts and put Tua in.
Yep.
Everyone was freaking out.
And Tua went off. He went off.
And then it went into, Tua being the new
starting
quarterback next year. And then they also, I think the freshman receivers were making plays. Najee Harris, who was a freshman too.
Yep. He snapped. Oh my gosh.
So all these players who were, young and freshmen aren't expected to do much are coming on in the biggest stage possible.
And balled out.
Yeah.
Man.
So, and I think that really set the tone for Nick Saban's teams being, all right, we're going to come in as freshmen and be ready and experienced.
Yeah, it's that next man up mentality. And also too that, okay, if you're not performing, your ass is going to be on the sideline. Like no matter, like I don't care who you are, you have to perform if you go play for the University of Alabama. And it's, I think that's setting the tone right there with Nick Saban. I think that's just everything, man, because he's had extreme amount of success. So I don't know, man. But any last words before we wrap up and move on to the next segment? We'll take a quick break.
I think right now, if y'all have not gotten a chance to look at Alabama's team photo, zoom in on the juniors and look at Bryce Young and Will Anderson. And it's 2 completely different emotions. Bryce looks super happy to be there. Will Anderson looks like he wants to run through a wall.
You got to give me the photo. You got to give me the photo so I can put it in here.
I'll give you the photo here.
I'll put it on our socials. But anyway, man, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more. We got some basketball topics coming up, and we got some secret stuff coming up that I didn't tell you about, but you got to answer anyway. So stay tuned. We will be right back. Now, just because you're busy doesn't mean you got to be stressed. I'm crazy busy right there with you, but it can be easier. Next time you're on a run, just make it more fun and listen to The Run with Manny Wilson. Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run, the Manny Wilson podcast. The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I'm still here with my guy, Jake. What's going on, man?
Nothing too much. Excited. We are a few weeks away from the start of college football.
Let's do it.
Also, it seems like all sporting news is coming together, so I'm here with it. I know.
Finally.
We were talking years ago and said it's just been so boring. We need something to happen.
Man, us podcasters, nobody likes to sit and talk about nothing, but damn, man, it's tough when, this time where no football, no basketball, and there's only baseball going on. It's tough to be talking about everything because baseball, you can only talk about so much, and they play games every single day. So it's like, it's tough. But anyway, man, I got a couple questions for you, man. I didn't tell you about them because you got to punch a ticket. So anybody who come on here, you got to punch a ticket. So the question is, man, who are your top 5 quarterbacks in today's NFL?
All right, so this is a tough one. So I got to start with Mahomes.
Okay. Are these in order? Let's get that right first. These are in order?
No, these are not in order.
Okay, all right, just random 5. All right, gotcha.
Yeah, random 5. So it's
Gotcha.
Mahomes, Allen,
Ooh.
Brady, Rodgers.
Oh,
And I feel like with the other one, this is a toss-up. I feel like Justin Herbert is up there too.
Oh, you okay? So you left a couple of people out, man. It was some names. It was some. I mean, if that's your top five, that's your top five. That's cool. But to me, the couple of names that I was expecting to hear, I was definitely expecting to hear a Russell Wilson in there.
Oh.
So who would you say? I mean, it's on you. If he's not in your top five, he's not in your top five. I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Well, I was also doing it based off of last
season,
like how everyone performed. So if we're just incorporating career who's still in, then yeah, Russ is there, Aaron Rodgers is there, Tom Brady's there.
Okay.
But I feel like, and like with Mahomes, I mean, he's only really been in it for 5 years. So like the rest of these guys have been there longer.
But Mahomes is established, man. Like he's
Mahomes
established.
Is there too. But then it comes into with Josh Allen. As bad as it sounds, he's really only had 2 good years.
It does sound terrible, but I mean, Josh Allen is. I really like Josh Allen, and I really hope the Bills can finally get over this hump. But I don't think. I feel like it's difficult to put him in that conversation until he gets over the hump of going far in the playoffs for the NFL. So until he can get past that hump, I feel like it's very difficult to put him in that top 5 conversation. Top 10,
and I mean,
of course.
I'm a Saints fan, and honestly, I want to say Drew Brees, but he's not playing anymore. And I wasn't, being honest, I was not excited when we got Jameis. I was like, oh.
And actually, we'll touch on that in a sec too. But Jameis, I'll touch on the Saints. I got you on that too, because we got that coming up also. But just to stick on the top 5, man, the top 5 quarterbacks for me that I had listed, and I was kind of, I mean, obviously I knew we'd have 2 different top 5s, but I still got Brady in there. I still got Aaron Rodgers. Mahomes has definitely established himself, even though is young, still in the league, and still has to do more. Russell Wilson, and I have to throw Matthew Stafford in there.
I was thinking about that.
I have to, man. I have to, just because not even based off of last season, but like, man, from watching him even in Detroit, man, that man was a bad dude. Like, he's always been lethal like that. So even come Super Bowl, like when crunch time was there and they like, oh, is Matthew Stafford actually legit? I'm like, man, I done seen this man do this plenty of times already. It was just on a smaller scale. So like, nobody's caring about what he's doing, especially if they're losing a game because the defense is trash. So it was just like, man, when I seen the Super Bowl coming, I was like, oh shit, Matthew Stafford. I was like, he's about to finally get him one. Like, he's about to finally do it. And I was happy for him, too, because it's well-deserved.
That Super Bowl so much.
Definitely, man.
But obviously, I'm still super bitter about Joe Burrow because I remember that Alabama-LSU game.
Oh, man.
That
was crazy.
Game stressed me out so much. I had actually just graduated college. So I graduated the year before, and the whole topic is Tua going to be okay? Is Tua going to be ready? And then we are just doing awful in the first half. And then there's that questionable call, which I completely forgot about Thaddeus Moss being out of bounds.
Oh, man.
Saying that, no, he was in. And
the referee, I don't know, man. And they got all of these super good cameras and fancy cameras, fancy angles. But I'm like, where the hell is all of this stuff when it comes to a one specific call? Like, where's all of these sweet camera angles and stuff that y'all brag about in the commercials, but don't look at when, we actually need you to get the call correct. So
now
it's weird.
Yeah. And the thing now is that looking at it, I mean, if they said, oh, yeah, incomplete, as bad as it sounds, I don't think the outcome would have changed because Alabama didn't turn it on until the second half.
Facts.
So,
that's true.
I mean, it could have been a difference. It could have been something else. But I also remember that game because Najee went off. And,
that is.
But I think with it, too, I mean, Matthew Stafford, like, when he came in and he's playing hurry upper, I just remember that catch to Cooper Kupp in the NFC Championship against the Buccaneers.
They were saying They were saying Stafford and Kupp was like Shaq and Kobe out there.
Oh my, yeah.
All season, that's what they've been saying, really.
I remember Cooper Kupp getting drafted, and I think that year, the second year he was in the league, I had him in fantasy dude went off with Jared Goff as his quarterback.
Now Jared Goff is in Detroit with nobody, but yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how that went down, man. You know, I don't. It's weird, but I am so happy for Matthew Stafford. But no, let's switch gears just a little bit, man. Let's switch gears. So here, you brought up your guy Jameis Winston. He's your quarterback. Like, what can you do about it? He's your quarterback. So with him being your quarterback and everyone else in the NFC South, even though it's really only Tom Brady, who do you think is going to win that division? Just because I know you're a Southern guy, you cover the small markets. Let's hear it.
So it's actually funny because I literally just mentioned this on my episode yesterday.
Go check it out, y'all.
I'm biased, but I have the Saints. I know that people are going to say, well, what about Tom Brady? Here's the thing about the Buccaneers. Basically, their O-line is reshuffled because they lost Ali Marpet to retirement. Ryan Jensen is out with a knee injury. And then one of their other starters went to Cincinnati for to play with Joe Burrow. So basically, you just have Tristan Wirfs.
Man, I don't know about the Saints, man. You know, the Saints, I don't know. That's tough because counting Brady out, and I actually was just talking about this on our last episode, is people cannot keep counting Tom Brady out, man. Tom Brady, the more people count him out, the more he wins. And I mean, the Saints are good because they did get a couple new pieces. They got a couple new pieces, and I really like the Tyrann move that they picked up. So, you know, for to help the defense, but it's gonna be tough to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. Just Tom Brady.
Now, a big part of it too is that Bruce Arians isn't the coach. You had Todd Bowles.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Bruce Arians isn't the coach, but you know, it's just tough, man, because it's just Tom Brady, man. This is a guy who's, you know, I'll put it this way. So before he was traded, before he left New England, people thought his success was limited to Bill Belichick. So he left Bill Belichick, proved I'm the shit. I can win with any coach. It really doesn't matter. And then went to Tampa Bay and won. And now it's like, okay, it's kind of like the same scenario again, because that's when he left New England and won, that solidified to all the haters, all the TB12 haters, that Tom Brady does not need Bill Belichick. He's a good coach. He's a guru from a coaching standpoint, but he don't really need him. Tom Brady is Tom Brady. He's the success that he's had is because he's Tom Brady and because he's just that damn good. So, you know, it's when we're talking about the coaching, I know it's two different coaches, but also, you know, as a head coach, you're not going to tell Tom Brady how to run his offense. Like you'll try and, you know, go head up with him on occasion, but you're not going to say, no, Tom, you're not going to run the offense, because you know what he's going to say? 7. 7. I got 7. You're going to listen to me, goddammit. I got 7. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough, but I respect the New Orleans Saints, and I don't want to sleep on them too much, just because they do have new pieces, and Jameis is we just don't know what the hell we gonna get with Jameis.
Jameis is a very I feel like with him, he'll be more comfortable this year, but the injury from last year does concern me. One of the things that I have discussed in different episodes too is that with the New Orleans Saints, Alan Payton stepped down, they kept everyone. So the fact that they were able to keep their offensive coordinators and everyone there, it definitely helps with Jameis.
That is true.
But I also said that I could see it being like really close, where it being decided by one game. So I could see it being something where the Atlanta Falcons split a game with the Saints, and it ended up. Yeah, I know it happened last year. It was devastating.
You know, oh man, I'm a Falcons fan, so you know I try not to get too excited about anything that we may do, just because we're not the best right now. So I'm trying not to get any type of hopes up.
It's okay. Neither are the Panthers. I mean, I made a joke saying that right now the Panthers are making their way down the 2018 quarterbacks drafted, and very soon they'll get Josh Rosen.
I'd start Donald though. Just I don't know, man. Baker Mayfield is just the inconsistencies that I've seen from his previous game. So I would start Aaron Donald personally. But obviously I'm not there in training camp watching him perform, so I don't really know that much intel. But anyway, man, got another few quick questions for you, man. These are just gonna hit you, and I just need a quick answer. So your team, and let me confirm first, your team to win the NFC South was hopefully the New Orleans Saints, right?
Okay. That's correct.
All right, got you. We punching in a ticket for that. And then my thing here with the Atlanta Hawks getting DeShante Murray, how much does that really impact the Atlanta Hawks in terms of their success?
I think it actually gives them a much better shot to make the playoffs, to actually move on, because now you have more help for Trey. One of the things that I always was mentioning is that you need to consider giving him more pieces, because you didn't really have much. Kevin Huerter was too young and inconsistent. You had Bogdanovich, who's still great.
Yeah.
But and then you have John Collins, but he traded away Cam Reddish wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, he wasn't. And I think as long as they kept that piece of obviously Trae Young and then DeAndre Hunter, I think those were like, you know, if you can keep, and John Collins too, if you can keep those guys and bring on some more assets, which they did, I think that's like, you know, would really kind of push them to the next level. And I always think with the Atlanta Hawks, yeah, they made the trade, they got DeShante Murray, but it's not a win right now move just because the team is so young. Like, you know, they're so young. Yeah, they I still don't see them competing and beating the Bucks in 7 games.
No.
Yeah, and not doing it.
Things where it's really hard for them because in the East you have the Heat, the Bucks, the Celtics.
So much comp, man.
So much competition. And, you know, it's always been a new team in the finals each year because it was the Celtics last year. I mean, this year. It was the Bucks last year. It was the Heat the year before. And then it was the Raptors the year before.
Yeah, man, that's so true. That is so true.
So it hasn't been a consistent team where in, you know, the mid-2010s, it was the Miami Heat.
Yeah, LeBron. Shit, it was all LeBron. Whatever. You had Miami.
Cat, and I love Chris Bosh, but I always genuinely said that it was the big 2.5.
I mean, I don't disagree, man. Chris Bosh played his role. He played his role of, you know, being a cleanup man, getting rebounds and you know, doing what he has to do, but and knocking down open threes too, because he would do that. Yeah. But when you talk about like, you know, the big three, it was just somebody in any big three, somebody is gonna have to take that backseat role, like and do the dirty work in any big three. Like, so it doesn't even matter.
I will always say that Chris Bosh is one of the best players of the 2000s because he was a very great player. That's
tough, man. That's a bold statement right there. That's a bold statement. I mean, he did his thing in the 2000s. I really liked him when he was in Toronto because he was an animal when he was carrying that team. But 2000s, man, you bringing up guys like Timmy D, Kevin Garnett. Like, you bring Dirk Nowitzki, you bringing in these lethal guys. So, like, oh man, yeah, I don't know when you talk about the bigs. So, but overall, like because there's so much competition, it's really up for grabs. And a team like the Atlanta Hawks, they're scratching the surface. They're scratching the surface of being in that conversation of grabbing that title. That's really up for grabs, or grabbing that spot to be able to go back to the finals, and they're scratching the surface. So it's not going to happen right now, but I think maybe about 4 or 5 years from now, they'll be more developed, get some veterans on that team, and they'll be able to ball out. They'll be more mature. They'll went to the playoffs, went on some runs and lost, and know what to do in order to succeed like this ongoing time. But again, it's still going to be competition because 4 to 5 years, Giannis is still going to be around. Jason Tatum is still going to, like, it's going to be tough, but it definitely puts them in better position than what they was getting DeShante Murray. But anyway, man, we got to go ahead, wrap up, man. Closing thoughts. Go ahead, give them your Instagram, your Twitter, where they can find your podcast, all platforms. Go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Jake Stick Podcast, or my personal Instagram, JakeStill14. You can find this on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. Our network is actually the Variety Sports Network. Follow them on Instagram, Twitter,
That's
at
dope.
variety_sports_. A lot of cool different content. And I mean, I'm excited for this. Obviously, you know, I've seen all the cool stuff that Manny's been able to do. And
I appreciate it.
I mean, once again, congratulations on being recognized as one of the top risers. I mean, you've put in so much work for the past few years.
Thanks, man.
And I'm lucky that we can be able to collab and stuff, because I love being able to learn from you.
That's what I appreciate that, man. But no, that's why I gotta have you on too, man. You've been doing your thing. I'm like, we gotta get a collab episode. So you know, it's only right. But anyway, man, you guys know where you can find me on Instagram. You can follow my personal page at I am Manny Wilson. Be sure to follow our Instagram and podcast page at The Run Podcast. And until then, man, we will be back. And then so on and so on and so on.